Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your weekly injection of mind-numbing local news. My name is Alex. It is Tuesday the 6th of April. It is just past 6 p.m. in the evening, and I'm joined, as always, by Rob. Rob, with bombshell news that's just dropped that we've discovered as we're recording today, as I say, on the 6th of April, which is going to directly affect us. Not this podcast, but our other podcast, Daft Talk. Tell the listeners why, Rob.
Well, our listeners have been as conscientious as ever.
Hang on, Rob. And can I just put on some funeral music? Thank you.
Yeah, it'll be fitting, Alex, I must admit. That's better. Well, not better, but you know what I mean. So Kyber has very kindly shared an article which begins by just saying, oh dear, oh dear. And the article links to The Verge with the headline, Yahoo Answers will be shut down forever on May the 4th. And I thought it was an April Fool's joke, but no, Yahoo Answers is no more, or at least will be no more.
Did Yahoo say what their reasoning was?
What, apart from the fact it's a bag of shit?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if what they've got.
Let me open the article and have a quick
hang on,
look.
I've got it here. I've got the. Can I read out the statement by Yahoo that was sent to the Yahoo Answers community?
Please do.
We launched Yahoo Answers, just for anybody who's just tuned in doesn't know why we're talking about this. Our other podcast, which is called Daft Talk, is where we mine the online world of human curiosity that is Yahoo Answers. We talk about weird, bizarre questions that people have posted on Yahoo Answers. So obviously, without Yahoo Answers, it's going to be hard for there to be a Daft Talk. But the statement reads, we launched Yahoo Answers 16 years ago to help people around the world connect and share information. With you and millions of other users, we built the best place on the web to ask and answer questions on a variety of topics. I'm not going to read all this out, but we've decided to shut down Yahoo Answers on May the 4th, 2021. While Yahoo Answers was... Oh, so they've got spelling mistakes in the statement. By the way.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So basically they're saying, although it was once a key part of Yahoo products and services, it's become less popular over the years, and the needs of our members have changed. So we've decided to shift our resources away from Yahoo Answers to focus on products that better serve our members. You will no longer be able to post any new questions or answers from April 20th. You can still view any posted questions until May the 4th. On May the 4th, the site will be entirely shutting down. If you would like to download a copy of your questions and answers you have posted. I mean, do you think we should... Do you think we should do one more episode of Daft Talk where we... Because presumably there's going to be people having a meltdown on Yahoo Answers about this. It might be worth us doing one more, I don't know. We should to say goodbye to...
We should do just one more... I mean, if nothing else, I think it would be a testimonial podcast, I feel.
Yeah.
You know, where we go back and... Well, we obviously don't go back because, you know, scrolling through the answers is horrid. But, yeah, I think we need to do... I mean... If nothing else, Alex, we owe it to the listeners. I mean, it's been going strong for a year now. Unfortunately, it's been ripped away from under us. And yeah, I think we need to do at least one more episode to give the listeners closure.
What we do promise the listeners, because we've discussed this off air, everybody, is that we will be focusing our efforts back on LA Podcast, but we will return to Daft Talk as soon as there is a similar site up and running, because these people who went on Yahoo Answers will want somewhere to go to. I'm assuming that place they go to will be Reddit, but we will see. And what I will say is, Rob, is I've got an episode title already oven ready for the next Daft Talk, because The Verge say,
okay,
perhaps the shutdown of Yahoo Answers is for the best, considering the site appears to be overrun with far-right conspiratorial garbage. Now, overrun with far-right conspiratorial garbage will be a very fitting episode title for our testimonial episode of Daft Talk.
I mean, it is absolutely ideal. Fantastic.
They note, Rob, that before you do, the current Yahoo Answers homepage is highlighting such introspective gems in its Discover section as, will America survive 4 years of Joe Biden, and will this summer be record riots by BLM and Antifa, as well as this instant classic, was Stalin right about everything? This highlights why we started Daft Talk.
It's such a shame, and I mean, as you rightly say, Daft Talk, it's not finishing, it's just changing, and we're not entirely sure what that'll look like post the closure of Yahoo Answers, but there'll be more to come. We just need to get an idea of where that content is coming from. I also, what I was going to mention before is, I found it very fitting that this was an LA podcast week, because we were due to record yesterday morning, but unfortunately we had some issues, which meant we weren't able to. And the thing I wanted to flag was the fact that I don't know if you had it in London, but Alex, but obviously it's just been the Easter weekend. I hope everyone had a nice relaxing break. I was sitting out in the garden having lunch on Sunday because it was 17 degrees in bright sunshine, and the following day it was snowing.
Yes, I celebrated Easter, Rob, by killing a rabbit with my bare hands and then trying to summon it back to life, which didn't work. Anyway. Right,
okay. Very, very grim. Just very, before we move on to the stories, just a few updates. Just to let you know, Eagle Heights is reopening again.
Yay!
Yeah, so that's happening. Also, to Kaiba, I'd love to know where you found this picture from. There's no link in the post.
It's not inappropriate, is it, Rob?
No, not at all. No, it was a nice post. He was wishing all the members of the forum a happy Easter, with a very disturbing collection of what looks like a hybrid of a rabbit. Well, I mean, it is a hybrid of rabbits, chocolate rabbits, with the face of Benedict Cumberbatch.
Right, there's a good episode title in there.
Yeah, there is.
Rob, just anything else?
No, that's it from me.
Well, I mean, just to start off this week of LA Podcast, it would be remiss of us not to mention that it is the 6th of April. So in the interim, when we obviously released another episode of Daft Talk, we did have April Fools, Rob. April Fool's Day, and that meant I had to be extra cautious when selecting my stories because you don't want to get caught out. I do feel April Fool's wasn't as much of a thing this year, just like it wasn't as much of the thing last year, because under the circumstances it all feels pretty inappropriate. But I did like this gem of a headline and a story. I like the fact that Cosmos magazine, which deals in the science of everything, did release this on April Fool's. Headline, okay. Astronomers declare no further research required. Astronomers around the globe reveal we've learned everything we need to know about the universe. And then it has a whole article really making this seem very authentic, that scientists are saying, no, we've discovered everything we need to know. That's it. Job done.
That's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah. Okay, Rob, let's get into the proper stories here. I've got a short story which I just want to update people on. I think it's quite important. It's from the York Dispatch. Now, this is York in the United States somewhere. I don't know where. Can I just look up where York is in the United States?
Of course.
York, United States is in Pennsylvania, apparently.
Okay.
It's a very short story, but it is important. It's by Harper Ho. Great name, Harper Ho.
Yep.
And the headline, this is only a couple of days ago, police... body found on I-83 overpass was actually a sex doll.
Right. There's no suggestion that it once belonged to a Kazakhstanian bodybuilder. Is there, by any chance?
Yeah, he's finally had enough, Rob.
Yeah.
And police responding to a report of a dead body on an overpass of Interstate 83 found a 6-foot sex doll instead. Now, that's quite a big one. 6 foot, so that's somebody who likes a tall woman, Rob.
Yeah, that's quite a specialist model, I feel. I mean, I think that I would feel intimidated by that.
Yeah, I'm sure you would, Rob. According to a York area regional police news release, it was actually a life-size sex doll, said Lieutenant Kell Schollenberger. It was a very flimsy cardboard box. We have no idea how it got there. Now, do we want to speculate? I mean, I'm assuming that got chucked out of a car. You know, like, they've had their fun. The wife's getting home. I need to dump this body, and I'm just going to chuck it into the onto Interstate 83.
Yeah, that's someone who I think maybe went to collect the parcel, realised his error, maybe
Oh, you think it was buyer's remorse?
I think
in the
so,
back of the car.
But wanted. If you're going to dump it, you may as well get your money's worth first, if you know what I mean. And then he dumped it.
Right, well, police responded about 8 p.m. March 23rd at a place called Dewdrop Road at the I-83 overpass after a passerby called 911. The responding officer discovered the doll and asked for backup to help dispose of it in a dumpster. It's the first I've ever seen, Schollenberger said. Is it? We've had dead animals in boxes and things like that, but nothing like this. Unless someone is trained to render first aid, calling police in cases like this one is the correct response, he said. So don't try and deliver first aid, Rob, to a sex doll. Always call the police. That is the moral of that story.
It's good to know. Was he implying that he was having sex with the dead animals? Or is that just my perverted mind?
I think that's you, mate, to be honest.
Okay,
now, look, it has been a very long time. I did try visiting the new shopper. And the new shopper didn't seem to understand that the reason they were so good and so popular was their small, slightly comical news stories, which they appear to have completely dispensed with. So I went down to the Bournemouth Echo, and there was a story there that caught my eye by Maya George, who is their apprentice reporter. So there you go.
Right.
Apprentice. You
Can
wonder
I
who
just
she's training
make it? Good point. Are you berating the new shopper for providing quality journalism?
I didn't. It's not providing quality journalism. It's just a very boring local newspaper currently. But
right, okay, fair enough.
It's by Maya George. Police. Okay, this is now. Right, Rob. I've told you this is an apprentice reporter. I think she might need to work on her headline writing skills. Right? I just feel like I'm not an apprentice reporter, and even I could write a better headline than this. Are you ready for this headline?
I am.
It's 5 words, and the headline is Bournemouth Police Stop Fly Tippers. Alex, it doesn't exactly
It gives you everything you need.
No, because as you hear from the rest of this story, there was a much better headline to be crafted out of this.
Okay.
2 fly tippers, Rob, got stuck in a dumped concrete block after trying to make a quick getaway from the police.
Okay, I'm with you. Yep. There's more to that.
Following a report to police of potential fly tipping, the 2 individuals failed to make an escape from officers yesterday. The driver of the flatbed tipper became stuck upon a previously dumped concrete block, therefore, Rob, learning firsthand the hazards that fly tipping can cause. So, Rob, this is the definition, I believe, of irony. So these are people who went to illegally dump their crap, and happened to get their flatbed tipper truck stuck in a concrete block that somebody had previously dumped there illegally. I mean, it's delicious.
I mean, I've heard that karma can happen very quickly, but that was almost instantaneous.
Following police intervention and some hard labour, much to the amusement of locals, according to police, the individuals freed their van, reloaded it, and cleaned the area before leaving. All details were obtained by police. This follows a surge in fly tipping across Bournemouth and the Dorset Council areas. Well, it is a problem, isn't it, Rob? You've got no charity shops. What the fuck do you do with your stuff? I saw my parents today, obviously in an outside space. They've come down from Dorset, and my dad was bemoaning the facts about that if he had to go to the tip, which, as you know, he used to like to take me to as a child, Rob, the one in London, in Croydon.
Of course,
it was our family day out. He was saying that the queues to the tip are just unbelievable. And I said, but you do have the option, of course, where you live. You've got the perfect solution. The ocean. They're 5 minutes from the water, Rob. You just drive your car. He's got a big estate car. You load it up. In the dead of the night, you drive it to one of those cliff edges, and you just hurl stuff into the sea.
Exactly, Alex. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Great story here from ABC News. It is by Hyun Soo Kim. Story about South Korea, but it's a great story. So the headline is, Rob, young couple mistakenly vandalise $440,000 painting in South Korea.
Mistakenly vandalise?
Yes, that happened.
Okay.
So in South Korea, an art piece by an American graffiti artist showcased in South Korea was damaged by a couple in their 20s who thought that the sets of paint and brushes laid in front of the artwork was for spectators' use. So this installation, Rob, is a giant wall of graffiti. It's extraordinary. And part of the installation is paint and paint brushes in front of it, which they picked up. There's a video of them daubing this with large globules of paint, and it's worth $440,000.
Well, Alex, this basically presents a very interesting question, because I mean, as you know, I am an art lover. I'm also a big fan of conceptual art, and contemporary art, actually. And there's a big discussion about the gallery space and how it can be seen as elitist, and it's sometimes it can be quite beyond the common man.
Non-inclusive.
It doesn't feel like an inviting space. Exactly. And so, I it can be difficult because obviously I have seen artworks that invite the viewer into them, and there is an interactive element to them. Whereas on the opposite side of things, I think I've seen things that are very obviously aesthetics that are part of the artwork. So what I'm trying to say is,
we're losing listeners.
It's a minefield. Say again.
We're losing listeners, Rob. What were you trying to say? Sorry,
Alex. I'm trying to bring the tone of this podcast up.
Well, it makes me think, Rob, should we not could Daft Talk become Art Talk? There you go. We'll just stick you in a room with a microphone. It'd be less work for me. I'm happy.
Right, okay, so you're saying that I just talk about art, which in itself could become an art form.
Exactly, and I sell it for millions of pounds.
Yeah, so I am the living embodiment of an artwork.
You are a living installation. Yeah.
I must admit, even me saying it sounds pretentious and well, shit, really.
No, I'm going to call it living installation of desperation.
Yeah, perfect.
There we go. Good episode title.
Yeah.
So basically, okay, so staff at the gallery exhibit noticed new brushstrokes on the wall, small swipes of dark green to the left of centre last Sunday. After checking the security camera, 2 suspects were taken by the police for investigation. The agency that organised the exhibition told ABC News it is currently negotiating with the artist to take appropriate steps. Sounds rather menacing. What do you think appropriate steps are, Rob?
It's a good question, Alex. I mean, it does sound like there might be some sort of retribution against those involved. Luckily it's South Korea.
Well, South Korea is, yeah, luckily it's South Korea. Exactly. I was about to say, you get people who try and defect from North Korea and run over the border and North Koreans try and shoot them. I wonder if anybody's ever tried to get out of South Korea and into North Korea, and I can't think why they would. But maybe that's what you make these two do, and you put it on Saturday night and make it a game show.
Yeah, and maybe, but I think the way you pitch it to North Korea is obviously that this couple are trying to escape the grasp of the
South
imperialist
Korea,
West.
Yeah.
And they escape into North Korea and they realise they made a horrible mistake.
Okay, now Rob, I've got a great thing that I want to talk to you about now. This, to me, was a brilliant local news story. It's not really a story; it's a feature from the Bournemouth Echo.
Okay.
Now, Rob, we've often talked about, and you have been very open in discussing, you've been very frank, I feel, in talking about how, in many ways, you are still stuck in a period of adolescence in terms of your enjoyment of certain snacks that maybe should have been left behind in sort of early adolescence. Certain chocolate bars, fizzy drinks, squashes, whatever it is, the kind of things you like to populate your packed lunchbox with. But this, Rob... Yep. This is a feature story. This is not a story, it's a feature. It's by Ian Crump, who is their heritage writer. Yes, they have this guy.
Okay.
And the headline is, Chocolate, vote for your favourite long-lost bar. So, Rob, I want to take you a trip down memory lane, because I guarantee, I think that most of these you'll be familiar with. And me too. So we're going to go through...
Hang on. I thought I was allowed to suggest what my favourite long-lost bar is, because I do. I haven't answered this question.
Do you want to say it now, and then we'll go into them? Go on.
So, some years ago, Cadbury's produced a chocolate bar, which I believe is often looked back upon with fondness, but I don't think it was hugely popular. It was called a Fuse bar. Do you remember?
Yes.
I used to love Fuse.
Tell me about the composition of a Fuse bar, Rob. What was in it? It might be on this list. Oh, it's here. It's number 2. It was a solid chocolate bar with nuts, peanuts, raisins, crisp syrup, and fudge pieces. The bar was launched in 1996, but was discontinued in 2006. Fuse bar.
It was a joy, Alex. It was literally heaven on earth.
Okay, well, see if you can remember these. So number 1, they're not in any particular order. Nestle Texan bar. Covered with chocolate, this nougat and toffee bar was available in the 1970s and the 1980s. So probably, I don't remember that, I'm going to be honest.
No.
Okay. Cadbury Time Out. Now, I didn't know the Time Out wasn't being made anymore.
See, a Time
I
Out.
like the Time Out. Go on.
Yeah, but it just felt like a poor man's Kit Kat, Alex.
Yeah, well, it was. It was a wafer bar with a layer of flake and introduced in 1992 and was available in 2016. Okay, I remember this. The Cadbury.
Can I just also say, by the way, I want to make this absolutely clear. I personally think the Kit Kat, the humble Kit Kat, is possibly the most underrated chocolate bar. I love a Kit Kat.
I agree.
I think, yeah, I think it just does not get the accolade it rightly deserves. But, you know, maybe that's controversial. I don't know. I know it's Nestle, but at the same time, I will always take a Kit Kat if it's offered. Okay,
thanks, Rob. So number 4, Cadbury Spira. With 2 spiral fingers in each pack, these were a real treat. They were launched in the 80s and ran until 2005. 2 twists of dairy milk chocolate. You remember that?
Isn't that just a twirl?
The Cadbury's Dairy Milk Tasters come in at number 5. Solid balls of dairy milk chocolate. You remember those?
Nope.
Tasters, I do. Really? Okay, you're surprising, Rob. Do you remember the Flake Snow? It was a flake, but it had white chocolate in the middle.
I do indeed, and they were delicious. Really nice.
Nestle Vice Versas. You must remember these, Rob. White chocolate with a brown shell and milk chocolate with a white shell, both striking and tasty.
Vice Versas. Remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cadbury's Old Jamaica, Rob. Good old rum and raisin. Remember that?
No. That sounds nice. Right. I would have had that.
I do remember this, the Cadbury Dream, a solid white chocolate bar released back in 2002.
Yep, I remember that as well. Good times.
Fry's 5 centres. They consisted of 5 flavours in one bar: orange, raspberry, lime, strawberry and pineapple. Ugh. 1934 to 1992.
That sounds repulsive.
Yes. Do you remember the Cadbury Whisper Mint?
No. Again, that sounds good.
I do like a nice aero. I used to like a nice aero.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, do you remember the Mars Delight? A delight by name and a delight by nature, this lighter version of Mars packed a wafer centre and was released in 2004, but disappeared by 2008.
Nah, that just sounds wrong to me.
Do you remember? Okay, I remember this, Rob. The Cadbury's Marble Bar. Milk chocolate with a swirl of white. The best of both worlds.
I literally had a marble bar last year, I think it was.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think you just need to look in the right shops. Maybe, I mean,
some very old stock, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was home bargains. There's a good chance they may have been a few months past their sell-by date.
Okay, let's fly through this. White Maltesers, but white.
No, don't remember those.
Mars. Nope. I remember this. The Mars Flight, introduced in that's FLYTE. Taste of chocolate, skip some fat. It had a chocolatey whipped nougat style centre coated in milk chocolate.
Yes, remember those? They were good.
Okay, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 bar. Who could ever forget the music from the advert? You remember the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? That was around when I was a kid. Really?
No.
That's very famous.
No.
Okay, Cadbury's Aztec. It was made of milk chocolate, nougatine and caramel. It was marketed as Cadbury's answer to Mars. It was launched in 1967, discontinued in 1978. The Cadbury's Aztec.
I mean, do you really want me to answer that, Alex?
Okay, last 3, Rob. Twix Choc and Orange. They should bring that back.
You know what? Again, controversial, but I do not like Twix. I just do not see the point.
Really? Okay, Cadbury's Rumba. A combination of fudge, chocolate and rum flavour. It was available in the 70s. It's 5p. Now, this is the bar that I remember, Rob. There was a bar that I used to get on my way home from school that I used to love, and I couldn't remember what it was called for years, and I eventually concluded it must have just been a topic, even though I knew it wasn't a fucking topic. And thankfully, this article has reminded me of what it was. It was, Rob, the Mars Applause Bar. It was called an Applause, a biscuit base with a layer of soft caramel, raisins and apple covered in milk chocolate.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Sir Bob of Totten says, Texan bar was my favourite and marathon with proper-sized peanuts. Everything was, the marathon, of course, was the old Snickers bar, Rob. Everything is smaller now and the prices are ridiculous. Damn, I sound like my granddad. Now, here's a question for you, Rob. Are chocolate bars smaller, or is it that I am bigger? Did chocolate bars appear to be bigger to me because I was a child? It's like when I went and visited my old primary school in my mid-20s, it suddenly felt tiny. When I was in there, it felt big. and it hadn't reduced in size. I had grown bigger.
I do believe, and I think I actually remember reading a story about this fairly recently, that apparently chocolate bars have actually become smaller because, first of all, health concerns, because of the sugar content, and also because of Brexit, the ingredients are more expensive.
Joy.
Yeah, stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Or eat it.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
During that little sting hiatus, Rob reminded me we hadn't said what episode number it was, which I'm sure was preoccupying him for the whole last segment. Rob, can you remind listeners what episode is this? Because there are people who like to be reminded, who can't be bothered to look at their screen, Rob. What episode is it?
It is 335.
Okay. Rob, you got some stories for us?
Yeah. Just before that, Alex, I just want to give you a quick weather update. In Bishop Stortford, it is now hailing. Just thought you'd like to know.
Can you hear it at your window?
I can see it. There's the window right next to me, and it's coming down. They're not big hailstones. I would say, in comparison, probably the size of a maybe a ball bearing.
Okay.
Anyway, on to the stories. Right, okay. I should probably look for a local news version of this, but instead I've just taken it directly from Sky News. It is from the 26th of March. I will just say I haven't actually done the appropriate checks to ensure my stories aren't April Fools, but I'll try and do that as we go along. So there's no journalist listed. As I said, it is from the Sky News website, and the headline is...
If it's published on April the 1st, don't read it out.
Well, no, it's not. It's on the 26th of March. I mean, yeah.
That's
what, you know, I'm not an idiot, Alex. I mean, I've never told any falsehoods on this.
We all remember the Cumberbatch story, Rob. Even Kaibo made an homage to it. Yeah.
Yeah, we do remember it. Sorry. Anyway, right. Headline: 90,000 greasy pennies dumped on Georgia man.
Let's keep going. That's oh my god.
So 90,000 greasy pennies dumped on Georgia man's drive as final payment after quitting his job.
And there had to be greasy pennies too.
So a Georgia man has accused his former employer of a childish move after he received his final payment of $915, which is apparently £666 in pennies. So Andreas Flatten discovered the haul of 90,000 coins, which were covered in an oily, greasy substance at the bottom of his driveway.
Do you know how much 90,000 coins is? By the way, what does that work out? Hang on, I should be able to work that out. 90,000 pennies, is that 99 grand? Is it?
He just said. So it's his final payment, so it's $915.
Oh, right. Fucking hell, I was well out. My maths there, my God. Okay. All right, that is unbelievable. That is such a dick move and petty. But you know, he went to bed that night. He went to bed laughing. The employer. That'll teach him.
Without a doubt, yeah. So on top of the pile was his final pay slip, along with an explicit parting message from the car workshop where he worked.
Do we have the message?
Does it say? No, it doesn't, unfortunately.
Okay. I assume it wasn't sexually explicit. I assume it was explicit in like a picture of the employer's dick with a note with this is your final paycheck.
Yeah.
Suck on this,
Alex,
that kind of thing.
Yeah. You know, if nothing else, a nice memento. Mr. Flatten, who left his job in November, claims he had encountered difficulty receiving the payment. He now spends his nights gradually... Yeah, that's right. He now cleans his nights, gradually cleaning the pennies so he can cash them in. And it took him an hour and a half to make a few hundred of the coins usable. Couldn't he file some kind of complaint? I don't know if it's a police matter, but you can't go dumping that kind of stuff on somebody's drive. He could have. I would not be, because you think about the amount of work that would be, Rob. Couldn't he shove them all in a bath and try and do it that way? Well, he could do, but I think still. I mean, obviously the reason they're covered in this substance is because it made them difficult to get them off the driveway. But I think you really have to clean them individually. I don't think there's anything to really strip them off or strip the substance off en masse.
I'm not sure I'd bother for $900, mate. I'm going to be honest. It's about £600. Would you spend 2 weeks or however long it is hand cleaning pennies? Yes, you would, of course.
For £900, yeah, I probably would. Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
Well, for £600. So Miles Walker, who owns the shop, told WGCL TV that he didn't know if he had dropped the pennies off outside Mr. Flatton's house or not. He said,
"So say that again. Say that bit again."
Sorry.
This is the employer saying he doesn't remember.
Yeah.
If you put, oh right, that's
so
convenient.
Miles Walker,
wouldn't you say no? Yeah. I didn't.
Well, he said, "I don't remember. It doesn't matter. He got paid. That's all that matters."
Right.
So,
okay.
If you're asking me, Alex, he definitely did it.
How do you think he got them there? Do you think he just put them in like a pickup truck and then just sort of? I'm just intrigued as to how he dumped them. And did he do it in the dead of the night or something?
I imagine so. Maybe using some sort of wheelbarrow, possibly, and just dumping them there. The businessman then called Mr. Flatton a weenie. So Olivia Oxley, Mr. Flatton's girlfriend, said she hoped the incident will highlight how people are treated so poorly by their employer. But she's looking on the bright side, saying, "With that many pennies, we're bound to find a few treasures. I've already found one from 1937.
Oh, I see what you mean. So some of the pennies could actually be worth more than a penny.
Exactly. So there's definitely some bonuses.
That to me is the definition of looking at silver linings. Yes.
Yeah,
this penny's worth 2 pennies. This penny's worth 5. This penny's worth 5 cents. Okay.
Okay. So my next story is from now. I think this is a Washington-based publication. It's called NY News.
Wouldn't it be New York-based, Rob, considering it's called NY News?
Well, that's what I was wondering. Let me just double-check. Yeah, you're right, Alex. I probably should have checked this beforehand. It said it's because the story's from Washington. That's why. I've no idea where it is. But yeah, let's assume it probably is New York. Okay. The story is by Jacob Hills. It just says it's from 4 weeks ago. No date given. Washington man arrested for allegedly stealing £400 slide, mounting it to child's bunk bed at his home.
Rob. I have this story. Man arrested after gigantic playground slide found on child's bunk bed. It's that one, isn't it? Washington police.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. I was going to read it out. Yeah. It's incredible. Go on, though. No, you can take this one. I loved this story.
It is amazing.
This is humanity, Rob, right now.
So, a Washington man is accused of stealing a £400 slide from a playground and mounting it to his child's bunk bed in his mobile home, police have said.
Yeah, he fucking took a slide from a playground, somehow got it in to his front door and up the stairs. And by the way, what was this to make getting out of bed for his son more enjoyable? I mean, what the fuck?
Alex, it's a nice gesture. I mean, kids love this kind of thing, okay? Also, by the way, a £400 slide. How the fuck did he move this?
Yeah, well, exactly. This is a good question.
Yeah. So, Dustin Allen Bushnell, 30.
Or get it into his house and up the stairs.
That's a good point, actually, yeah. So, Dustin Allen Bushnell, 30, of Burbank, was arrested Tuesday on a charge of possession of a stolen property by Pasco police. Detective Julie Lee had been investigating reports of stolen catalytic converters last month, and that case led her to the home of Mr. Bushnell.
So what I love is that they weren't knocking on doors looking for who had nicked this slide. It was an unrelated case.
Yeah,
it feels like it's like Silence of the Lambs. You turn up at one house thinking you're getting one thing, and actually it turns out to be another. This is brilliant. So you can just imagine her wandering into this bedroom and seeing this slide and like, where did you get that?
Yeah, so I think as Alex rightly said, there was another crime. Someone was apparently stealing catalytic converters off cars, I'm assuming, and just happened on the
That's
house.
Been a thing for a while, Rob, including in this country.
Is it really?
Yeah, I don't think many cars have catalytic converters anymore, but yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Lee, with the help of other detectives, executed a search warrant at Mr. Bushnell's home and found, in quotes, a gigantic slide as well as catalytic converters, police have said. The slide was taken from a playground in December. The slide has been repainted sawn off at the top, and mounted to a bunk bed.
For what purpose?
Because Alex, look, let's be honest. So I didn't have a bunk bed when I was a child because it would have been stupid being the fact I was an only child. However, I did have...
You had a bale of hay, though?
Why are you laughing at that?
Oh, did you have a bale of hay? Sorry.
No, I didn't have a bale of hay. No. I had... What I was about to say is I had a cabin bed. Now, do you know what a cabin bed is?
I think a cabin bed it's that I always wanted one, you lucky bastard. I think a cabin bed, it's like a kind of like, the bed is raised up high, like on top of a sort of kind of like cupboard style unit. And it feels a bit like a fort kind of thing. That sounds amazing, Rob. What did you keep in your cabinet?
Well, there's down below, you have the desk. You had a desk with a chair. And then to the right of that, I had a wardrobe. I mean, can
I just say the set, go on, you really were what? Go say it.
Well, I was living the dream, Alex. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, but what you're not telling people, Rob, is that cabin bed was your bedroom.
All your stuff. That's true, but
that was it.
But I don't see what the problem is with that.
And it was in the garden. Again,
I mean, look, there wasn't space in the house. Okay, I appreciate that. My parents told me that from the off.
You were like Snoopy. You were Snoopy on the kennel in the garden.
Well,
who was your Woodstock, Rob? You know.
Well, I don't let's get into that, but it was a small mouse. But hang on, this seems very unfair because at the same time I had a tarpaulin over the top of it, so it was like it was like a yurt, if anything.
Okay.
Well, minus a few details, obviously.
Now, I would have loved a cabin bed. They look cool. But I had to suffer with bunk beds because I had a younger sibling, Rob.
Well, okay, so there we go. Question, did you have the top or the bottom bunk?
I seem to remember at one point having the top and at one point having the bottom. I can't remember what age ranges, but I remember both.
Okay, so would it have not made the experience far more enjoyable if you'd had a slide from the top bunk?
Yeah, it would, but why didn't he just fucking buy a slide? Well, obviously because he thought there was one for free in the park, but did it never occur to him, I'm taking away... Did he think that because of the pandemic, nobody's using these slides, so it's fair game? I mean, presumably he thought, how's anybody ever going to know? It's only going to be... He must have said to his wife, look, the only way we're ever going to be discovered if somebody comes knocking on a completely unrelated crime and surreptitiously finds this. And what are the chances of that? And then the catalytic converter detective comes knocking, Rob.
Yeah. And that's the thing, Alex. He said, why didn't he buy one? I suspect that he couldn't afford it, in all honesty. And as you rightly say, it would have been the perfect crime. If it hadn't been for the catalytic converters, he would never been found out.
So what happened then? So this detective or whatever they were, so I'm a bit confused.
So basically what happened was they were investigating the theft of numerous catalytic converters. Unfortunately, the lead they had led them to Mr. Bushnell. And when they carried out a search warrant...
So he had also been stealing catalytic converters.
Okay. So police arrived on the scene and recovered the slide. Bushnell was arrested and booked into the Walla Walla County Jail on a charge of possessing...
The Walla Walla County Jail? Walla Walla...
The Walla Walla County Jail.
Okay. That sounds like a holiday resort. Where are you going this summer? Walla Walla.
I don't know why. It does sound like a song, like a Johnny Cash song.
Yeah, it really does.
So he's booked on a charge of possessing stolen goods. It does also say that so when they conducted the search warrant, they found the gigantic slide as well as catalytic converters. So unfortunately, if he hadn't have been stealing those catalytic converters, maybe as gifts for friends and family, we don't know. Maybe they were also gifts for his children. Who can say? But if it hadn't been for those, he would never have been found out.
Well, Rob, the what do they always say? The arm of justice is long, something like that. Is that right?
Yes, something like that. Do you mean the long arm of the law? Is that
something like that?
Is that the idiom you were going for?
I think so. And isn't there one about the arc of justice is something and something? Obviously, it really. Really lodged within me.
The arc of justice is something and something.
Yeah.
Also, do I mean idiom? Is that the right word? I don't mean idiom. What do I mean?
Yeah, you do mean idiom.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, is that you done, Rob?
That's me done, yeah.
Okay, right. Well, I just want to do a quick story. Before we get on to the listener story of the week, this is a story from The Times of London, Rob, by Tom Ball, Friday, April the 2nd. I just thought this would interest you and maybe some of our listeners. It's not really that much of... Well, it is funny in many ways, but funny in a more despairing way. QAnon cultist pushes green firm from Camelot Castle. I'm going to say, what a headline.
Sorry, pushes what?
Green firm from Camelot Castle.
Right, okay.
So basically, John Mappin is a man who can switch seamlessly between discussing the fluctuations of the Amsterdam stock market and expounding conspiracies about a Satan-worshipping cabal that plotted to bring down the US president. Broadcasting from the hotel he owns on the Cornish coast, the leading British QAnon conspiracist has been using his video channel to urge followers to invest in Dutch Green Business, which this week announced that it had hired Nigel Farage as its first member of its advisory board.
Oh my fucking lord. Okay.
The Dutch-listed company, in which Mappin and his wife Irina hold a 30% stake, describes itself as an environmental services company that aims to offset carbon dioxide emissions by planting trees. All of the key figures behind DGB are linked to Scientology. Mappin, who is a company chairman, and his wife, a board member, are followers of the cult and frequently recommend Dianetics, one of Scientology's central texts, the followers as a cure for depression. So, Rob, let's just backtrack before I continue to read his story. So far, within 4 paragraphs, we have mentioned a man called John Mappin, who owns a hotel down in Cornwall, who is a leading QAnon conspiracist, who also happens to be a Scientologist, who has urging people to invest in Dutch Green Business, which has just hired Nigel Farage, its first member of the advisory board. So we've got QAnon, Scientology, Nigel Farage, and of course Cornwall, all in the space of 4 paragraphs. It's quite a lot to take in.
I mean, literally, you're hitting the jackpot there in terms of God. How would you categorize that? Also, but I just googled him, and apparently he's also met Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, it surprised me. So GGB's chief executive is an ambassador for the Scientology-run Youth for Human Rights, as is Hilda van der Mullen, a former Miss Netherlands who was introduced to Scientology by Mappin while both were living in Hollywood in the 1990s. Together, the 4 of them and one other person own 60% of GGB's shares. There is no mention of Scientology on the company's website. Announcing Farage's appointment, GGB said it would be his first independent commercial position since stepping back from frontline politics, adding that his role would be to facilitate introductions to politicians and business leaders in the UK and around the world. Comments on that, Rob? About Nigel Farage joining a green enemy company?
I don't even know where to begin on that, Alex. It's so depressing.
Well, Mappin, 55, who was educated at Winchester College before becoming a commodities broker, has described Farage as a friend. The two were photographed sitting opposite one another at a fundraising dinner in 2019. The hotelier has positioned himself as one of the foremost British conspiracists peddling QAnon, a hoax that developed from anonymous cryptic messages posted on the forum websites 4chan and 8chan. The bizarre and thoroughly discredited theory claims that a satanic paedophile network was working to bring down President Trump while he was in office. Although the conspiracy attracted the biggest following in the US, British QAnon groups on Facebook gained tens of thousands of members before they were banned. Last year, Mappin hoisted a Q flag above the battlements of Camelot Castle Hotel in Tintagel, which he has owned since the early 2000s. He's repeatedly encouraged the 20,000 subscribers to his Camelot TV programme to plant a tree with DGB, and in one broadcast he explained that the reason for his support for reforestation was down to the fact that the Latin name for oak tree, Curus, bore a similarity to QAnon. Rob, what's happening to reality? Is the fabric of reality disintegrating around my eyes, Rob? What's happening? I feel discombobulated.
I honestly don't know what's happening. This feels like the TV show, The Thick of It, coined a phrase, which was omnishambles, and this feels adequate for this situation. How have all these things just come together? Well, look, he says the first letter of that name of this tree, Curus, may give you a deep insight into why that it is we are great tree lovers. What?
Said Mappin, who in 2017 shared a tweet which described global warming as the invention of the CIA. So this is a QAnon believer who didn't believe in global warming in 2017, who set up a green energy company. The employment of the former Brexit... Yeah, go on.
Well, also, this man, by the way, is obviously a Trump supporter, so I don't understand how you can be a Trump supporter and also, be in favour of green energy, because the two don't really go hand in hand. He also, by the way, he won £100,000 by placing a bet on Trump winning the 2016 election, because when he placed the bet, the odds were 33-1. He won £100,000. Just let that sink in.
Wish I'd done that.
Yeah, so do I.
The employment of the former Brexit Party leader may seem an odd move given some of his past comments on climate change. In 2013, Farage told the European Parliament, "We may have made one of the biggest and most stupid collective mistakes in history by getting so worried about global warming." Asked why DGB chose to hire Farage, the company said that Farage has a green heart and is someone who can really get the message out there. Farage will be paid a monthly retainer from DGB, but is not a salaried employee. And the person who runs DGB, who's called Jujevetsjin, who's a former hedge fund manager, of course she is, who in 2019 was found by the Netherlands Authority for Financial Markets to have been given misleading information on TV. And he has said that DGB do not endorse Mappin's QAnon beliefs. He added that the company was in no way a religious or political organisation, we're just focusing on planting trees, he said. Mappin and Farage did not respond to requests for comment. Are you okay, Rob? Yeah. I mean, look, all I need to say is this: just a quick weather update. It's now snowing. Okay, Rob. It's going to be a bit of a mournful one this week because obviously I'm sad about what's happened to Yahoo Answers. So it is time for our.
That was strangely melodic.
It was from the heart, Rob.
Oh, I could tell, Alex.
It is now time for our listener story of the week.
So this week it is from Khyber, from the Daily Record, which is obviously a Scottish newspaper. It is from the 21st of March. So again, we're good on the April Fool's front, which is always nice to know. It is by Ryan Carroll, and the headline: Police £900,000 MDMA haul from workshop turns out to be strawberry Haribo sweets.
Eh?
So, police reportedly raided the workshop and discovered nearly £900,000 of drugs before realising it was Haribo sweets.
How did they make this mistake? I mean, Haribo can, I'm not saying it's got drugs in it, but it can make you buzz, Rob.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just the amount of pure sugar in there, I can imagine.
Just think about that stuff. The happy world of Haribo. I mean...
Yeah, let's face it.
Who makes Haribo? It sounds like it's coming from somewhere. Haribo always struck me as being a sort of Nordic company or sort of Scandinavian.
I don't think they
Who
are.
makes Haribo? Where does Haribo come from?
I feel that they're European. I'm sure they are. Possibly German.
I know that, but where European? Obviously, the places I just mentioned were in there.
I'm going to say German.
What country?
They're a German company.
Germany. Oh, well done, Rob.
Yes.
Founded by Hans Riegel in 1920.
All I can say is, I've seen some of the marketing campaigns, and they do, they're just, there's some fascist overtones there.
I was about to say, if Haribo wasn't invented, would we have had Nazi Germany? I don't know.
It's a question. Maybe
I think we got to retract all this, Rob.
Oh God, yes.
I'm sure Haribo are very religious. We're just being whimsical.
Flippant.
Is that right?
Yeah, whimsical. Yeah.
Flippant.
By saying that the Second World War wouldn't have happened if Haribo had existed, that's obviously a whimsical comment. And we do not believe in any way that the Haribo company or any affiliates are associated to right-wing politics. Moving on. Right.
Very nice disclaimer, Rob. Well done.
Yeah. So officers announced on Twitter that they had found the haul in Saint-Ouen near Paris on Wednesday, and a tweet showing pictures of the drugs in both powder and pill form was accompanied by a caption boasting of a successful investigation. The post added that the drugs worth £860,000, which is 100 million euros, had been seized, while stolen phones had also been found. But toxicology reports carried out on Thursday concluded the powder seized in the apartment was a neutral powder, not falling under either narcotic products or poisonous substances, according to La Parisienne.
Sorry, just hang on. Whoa. So are we saying that Haribo official? Can you that last bit of sentence? Haribo sweets, in terms of a classification, it's good to know that they're neither classified. What did you say?
So they are neither narcotic products or poisonous substances.
Good to know. Yay, that's great.
I'm
that
sure
should be on that, on their adverts.
Can you just imagine
neither narcotics or poisonous substances.
Rainbow Haribo, just on the bottom in big letters, neither narcotic products or poisonous substances.
But also just flashing letters, not drugs. Not drugs.
And now it's been reported that the matter was accidentally...
No artificial flavours, sweeteners, or narcotics.
And now it's been reported that the matter was accidentally crushed to guard strawberries. I've never heard of them. Must be a foreign product. So crushed Tagada strawberries, made famous by Haribo. The sweet, also known as Farage Tagada, normally comes in the shape of an inflated pink strawberry, and it comes in it is covered in fine sugar and scented. A suspect is still expected to face prosecution over the stolen phones, but it is unclear what action will be taken over the, in quotes, drugs.
So again, Rob, another story about somebody investigating a crime only to think they've stumbled across another one.
Yeah.
They were investigating stolen mobile phones and chanced upon what they thought was this stash of drugs, but which in fact turned out to be Haribo.
Well, actually, I think in this case, Alex, they were looking for the drugs as well. I mean, they seem to believe that it was MDMA, which unfortunately turned out not to be the case. But again, as
maybe somewhere else they stashed a massive haul of Haribo, which actually are the drug in question, disguised as Haribo. I'm getting very confused in my thinking, I think, muddled.
So you're saying that maybe there's a big vat of the Haribo eggs, the famous eggs, that are actually just laced with LSD?
Maybe. I don't know this Haribo egg. What's the Haribo egg?
How do you not know what Haribo egg is?
Talking about Kinder eggs?
No.
Oh, those eggs.
Oh, yeah.
The fried eggs. Yeah. Yeah. Delicious.
So Haribo eggs laced with LSD, or I don't know, Coca-Cola containing actual cocaine.
Which was a thing, of course.
Of course, yeah. I mean the cola bottles, not, I don't think Haribo started branching out. They may have done, but yeah.
Rob, I don't know if you could afford them when you were younger, but what was your favourite penny sweet?
Well, Alex, occasionally I'll go searching around vending machines, and in the coin return slot, I'd often find coins, 1 and 2p's, and I'd splash out and buy myself a couple of penny sweets. What was my favourite? That's a good question.
I like the flying saucers, which I think were 2p, that had the sherbet in the middle.
Flying saucers was shit because it just felt like you were eating cardboard with sherbet in the middle.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm really boring. I used to like the cola bottles. Sour
Same here with sugar coating or without. I like the sugar coated ones. The ones that had a bit of a sour taste.
I was about literally just to say that the sour cola bottles used to be a favourite. Again with the eggs as well. I used to like the eggs.
But Rob, it just shows you what a different era we were living in. I mean, I cannot imagine having kids now and allowing them at 5 years old to gorge on penny sweets. It just seems peculiar what my parents allowed me to eat. I mean, there's a lot of narcotics, I reckon, Rob, in that.
Yeah, I think you're right, Alex. And I mean, I would, without a doubt, believe that, or at least state on the record that Angel Delight did contain angel dust.
Right, okay, if you want to go on the record and say that, that's up to you. Okay, look, Rob, that brings us to the end of this, or near to the end of episode 335 of LA Podcast. We look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode, which will be episode 336, Rob. As we move ever more forward, Rob, Well, like what, Rob?
Like a man who's just managed to liberate a £400 slide from a playground, gets it home under the cover of darkness, only to be raided by the police looking for other stolen items. Just like that.
We move ever more forward to our next episode, which, as I say, will be episode 336. We can be found on our website, lapodcast.net. From there you can download all of our episodes manually if you enjoy doing it that way. There is a PayPal button. We do need your donations, listeners, because it really helps to keep this podcast afloat, because obviously we just do this from the goodness of our own hearts, really. But it takes a lot of time, energy, so if you can donate something, that would be great. There is we're on Spotify, of course. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LA podcast, where there is the listener forum as well. Is it easy to find that listener forum on the Facebook page, Rob?
That's a good question, Alex. I don't know.
Could you not get the link to the Facebook forum, Rob, and make it like a pinned post on Facebook so people can find it easily?
I've
just put the link.
I've literally no idea whether that's possible. Let me look into it.
Well, yeah, you can make a post, can't you, on Facebook? And in that post, you just put the link to the forum.
I don't think you can do pinned posts on Facebook. You can on Twitter, but not on Facebook. Alex, I'll be honest, this is beyond my comprehension.
Right, okay, fine. We can be found on Twitter at LA Podcast. As I say, we're on Spotify. Blah-de-blah-de-blah, you know the drill. Right, Rob, it's time now for the headlines which never made it. Oh, sorry, if you want to send us a story, that was the important thing. You can email it to us, lapodcast.net@gmail.com, lapodcast.net@gmail.com, or tweet it to us, or post it on Facebook. Right, headlines which never made it. Let's do this. I've got 4.
Yeah, me too.
You took away... No, 5 I've got. Okay, I'll start then. Story from Malaysia, Rob. 10-foot snake pulled from toilet after biting man's bottom. Rob, this snake is 10 foot. He was sat on the loo, minding his own business, and his derriere was attacked by a snake, and it's not a euphemism.
Apparently it's quite common as well in parts of the world where they have snakes, that they do tend to come up toilet bowls. So just remember that when you're booking that foreign holiday, whenever that'll be. Right, first headline, £19 cat missing for 28 days, found in neighbour's chimney.
I've got one here, £19 tuxedo cat missing for a month, saved after being trapped in neighbour's chimney. Amazing, Rob. Is that the first time I think that's the first time we both have the same headline, which never made it.
I think it might be, actually, yeah.
It's a great story, though, isn't it? A portly tuxedo cat was found still alive, lodged in the chimney of a neighbour's house. He'd been there for ages, Rob. He was starving.
Yeah, 28 days. Quite incredible.
Okay, well, Australia. Geologist beaten up by angriest octopus on the beach. Beaten up, Rob. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Can I just say, Rob, there's a video that's gone viral where the octopus can be seen in shallow waters lashing out. Geologist Lance Carlson. Beat him up, Rob.
It's good to know. I must admit, that sounds entertaining. I might try and track that down.
Yeah.
Right, okay, next headline. Florida women wear granny disguise to get COVID vaccine.
Okay, what is the granny disguise? Out of interest.
They just basically try to dress up in clothing to look like grannies because they're obviously young women. They just want to try and get the vaccine.
How did they age their faces?
Well, I don't think they went into that much effort because they didn't succeed.
Okay. Man returns from shopping to find 15,000 bees in his car.
Oh God!
Yes, indeed.
I think I saw this somewhere. Yes.
I was thinking of featuring it as a main story, but you can look it up, people.
He was a beekeeper. He was a beekeeper. Is that right?
No. Yeah. Luckily enough, he happened to be a beekeeper. No, the firefighter who responded happened to be a beekeeper.
Okay. Right. Yeah. I've got 2 more. So, Boots apologised after inappropriate advert urged Scots to treat mums to sex toys for Mother's Day.
Sorry, how the fuck is that not a main story? I'm sorry, Rob. You've made a catastrophic error of judgment. Give me the story.
I mean, there's not a lot to it. That's the problem. There was an advert on Boots. I think it's their Facebook page. I'm assuming it was an algorithm that had gone wrong. And it was a lovely advert saying, why not treat your mothers, treat your mums for Mother's Day? And under that, there was a sorted collection of vibrators.
Do Boots sell those?
Well, that's also the question. I didn't think they did. Maybe the online store does. I'm happy to try and dig it out and bring it to the next LA recording if you'd like.
No, but I would like you to put that advert up on Facebook. Okay, last headline from me, which never made it this week. Yakutian farmer creates a bra for his cows. Pervert, Rob.
Yeah.
But, you know, I want pictures when he's finished.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Last headline from me. Church burglary suspect goes from unmasked to Batman costume mid-heist.
What?
He broke into a church to try and steal some very minor items, and for some reason went in unmasked so they could see his face on CCTV, and then midway through changed into a Batman costume.
How did you not read that out,
Well,
Rob?
again, that's it,
I
though.
think the listeners will agree. 2 big errors of judgment,
okay.
Rob, there. But I'll let the listeners decide. But brilliant. Good to have us headlines, nonetheless, Rob. People are going to look them up. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We've really enjoyed your company as always. We're going to be back. We're going to be back in a week's time with our last for now, our memorial for Yahoo Answers episode of Daft Talk. What is it? What do they say? It's in memoriam.
In memoriam, yeah, in memoriam.
Yeah, very sad. Very sad indeed. But thank you for listening, everybody. We're going to be back in a week's time with Daft Talk episode
27, I think.
5.
No, it's not definitely not 25. We've done 25. I mean, I know it. I'm just seeing if Alex can remember. No, he doesn't seem to be able to remember. It's 27. It's 27.
Episode 27 of Daft Talk. And a week after that, we'll be back with Local Anesthetic episode 336. God bless everybody. Take care.
And keep it local.